Okay, so yesterday we wrapped up talking about perimeter and area. Today we want to start talking about volume, and we're going to talk about volume for the next couple of days. Um, Specifically today we want to talk about models. Now, if this was normal times and we were not doing virtual class because of COVID, I would have you guys actually have physical cubes to be working with. But for now, we're just going to have to do the best that we can with the pictures that we have, okay? So I know that a lot of times students tell me that volume is the space that is in something or the space that is taken up by something. But the definition that we're going to use for the next couple of days for volume is the number of cubic units needed to fill a solid figure. Okay? So cubic units I'm going to talk about in just a second, but we're talking about a solid figure. Okay? Which means a three-dimensional shape. All right, so we're not talking about two-dimensional flat shapes like squares and rectangles anymore. We are now talking about three-dimensional shapes that have depth to them. Okay, so that means that we're actually going to be using, like how we had centimeters square for area the last few days. We're doing 3 dimensions today. So we're going to actually be doing centimeters cubic centimeters, okay? So a cubic unit is the volume of a cube measuring 1 unit on each edge. Now, remember a cube is a special shape because it has 6 sides and they're all the same and they're all squares, okay? So if I'm talking about the volume of a shape, I'm talking about how many cubes can fit into that shape, okay? And if I'm saying that it's centimeters, then each edge would be 1 centimeter, okay? That would be my cubic units. So basically, if I have a big, huge shape, okay, and it doesn't even have to be big and huge, I'm just drawing a bigger shape, okay, then what we're wanting to know is how many of these tiny ones are going to fit inside there. That's what volume is, okay? So we do have some formulas on our chart for volume, okay? If I have a cube, which means that every side is a square, okay, remember, if it's a square, every side is the same. So in that case, I choose any 3 sides and I multiply them. So we normally go along with this volume equals length times width times height. So if I have a shape like this, and let's say this length is 4 centimeters, this width is 2 centimeters, and this height is 3 centimeters, okay? In essence, what I'm doing is I'm finding the area of this bottom shape, which is 4 times 2, and then I think of it as a cake. After I find the bottom shape, then I have 3 layers of cake. So length is 4, width is 2, and height is 3, and then I just multiply them together. So 8 times 3 is 24, okay? But because it's 1, 2, 3 dimensions today, we put cubic centimeters, okay? That's totally okay if you're not there yet, if that didn't make any sense. It will after the next couple of days. So we have some pictures that we need to look at. So here's our first picture that we want to look at, okay? So this is called a rectangular prism, okay? Prism just means that it's a 3-dimensional shape, okay? Rectangular prism meaning that each of the 6 sides is a rectangle, okay? And so what we want to know is how many of these 1 unit blocks fit inside this whole shape. Okay, so I like to think, when I'm thinking of volume, I like to think about cakes. Okay, so I'm pretending that this is like a 2-layer cake. All right, and here's the dividing line. Right. Okay, so this all up here is one of the layers of the cake. Okay, and then this on the bottom is the second layer. So I want to find this layer. Well, I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 units in one layer. Okay, so if the top and the bottom layer are exactly alike, that means that this bottom layer also has 15 units. And I know 15 plus 15 is 30 units. And because it's volume, it's cubic units. Right? So what I could do over here is I could think just about the length. Okay, this is my length, right? How many units here in my length? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 in my length. Okay. And how many in my width? My width is this. Okay. Well, there's 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then my height is how many layers of cake I have. Well, that's this. I have 1 here and 1 here. So that's 2 layers of cake. And then I just multiply. Well, 5 times 3 is 15, which is what we figured out by counting the 1 layer. And then times 2 layers of cake is my 30 units, cubic units. Okay? All right, going to another one. Let's look at this shape. Okay? Now, this one is not a rectangular prism. This is just a shape. Okay? But what I want to do is I want to see how many cubic units. So what I probably will do here is I'll just like mark off like I did in the last one with check marks. Okay? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to write that down because I don't want to forget. Now, the only problem with this picture is that doesn't there need to be something right underneath this tower that's right here? Okay, there's got to be something that these are sitting on, right? Okay, and then this is in front of one. So there's one in there that's missing, okay, that I can't really see, that I have to also include that. So there's a total of, well, we'll just call that units, because there's no measurement there. 7 cubic units. Okay, so you always have to be thinking about those pieces that you can't see. So for instance, when we did that first one, the cake one over here, whoops, not that one, this one. Okay, there's a lot in this bottom layer that we can't see. We can see these here in the front and these here on the side, but there's a lot back there that we can't see. We know it's there because this is a rectangular prism, and so the top and the bottom have to be the same. But that's something we have to really pay attention to is, are there any that are, we don't want to call them missing because they're not missing, they're hidden, okay? So this one has one that's hidden way underneath there. All right, and 2 more. So I'm going to look at this one first, number 1. And again, I'm going to think of this as a cake, okay? I can see the top layer of my cake. Okay, I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 units in my top layer. Okay, And since this is a rectangular prism, there has to be the same on this bottom layer. So 4 plus 4 is 8 cubic units. Okay? Now on this one, I actually only have one layer today on number 2. There's no other layers, it's just one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 12 cubic units. And that's it for today's video.